TANGARA and his team to interface with Gambians to discuss his sector, progress, achievements, policies, and everything they are doing to ensure they promote our foreign policy and diplomacy for development of this country. As usual, the event is organized by the Ministry of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services in our drive to promote proactive disclosure of information. The President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, has urged us to ensure that the gap between the public and the government, insofar as information is concerned, that gap is closed, so that the public is aware of what the government is doing on a daily basis in terms of our policies, projects, achievements, challenges, but also the government is aware of what the public is saying, what their aspirations are, their challenges, but also their needs as well. Therefore, that is why we organize this town hall. So we bring sector ministers every 2 weeks to discuss their sector, so you can know what's happening in particular sectors as to what they're doing with taxpayers' money, because you pay the taxes. Today, we're happy to have the Minister here of Foreign Affairs to discuss his sector. Like I said, he's here with his entire team. And the norm is that he will give the Minister 15 to 20 minutes to highlight some of his key achievements and challenges, but also progress made in that sector. Then we'll give each and every one of his team 3-4 minutes to tell us their names, designation, but also the role they play in the sector. Then after that, we'll open the floor for Q&A. We'll announce the rules of those Q&A at some point. Madingol mbal tentula mbal jaila, mbal mbara la bake fang, mbal jala nabi MANSA KUNDA Ministerial Town Hall. Konka ke nyameng, ajuma fula, karokono. Nga minister killing kumandi ena IC anim banku dingole kacha. Asaf banku dingole mundo ku sifala la sector to. Put banku dingol salom fanang munebe kering MANSA KUNDA. Konka fanyam President His Excellency Adama Barrow fanyeleko amala filo itara banku dingol ni MANSA KUNDA tema. Ko MANSA KUNDA be ko to lolong sama la fo tuloy boy. Banku dingol si ba kalama bari fana banku dingol be ko to ila sula fengoni la wasio MANSA KUNDA fana si ba kalama, because wodron MANSA KUNDA so done keno pour kalam banku dingol munela suloti pour MANSA KUNDA si la sulol jarano otom baji ala bi MANSA KUNDA to bidong mo lumbalati na luntamba ay ka fa honorable minister Mamadou Tangara wala nata bi minister mi atelbe maraling ay ka fo me band Gambia dingo bantal banko kan anin Gambia nim bantala banko la ku Kenya e ka fa foreign affairs anin Gambians abroad oto bi mo lumbalati mbal jala bake fang mbal tentula mbal jela anala timo bi janne ni wato sita mbate minister mba sola miniti mwanna nim banko dingol si kacha asafo banko dingol abe mundo ko si falla ne botaje animil be silo kan si momo miniti nani dila miniti lulu e fanan sa fonje e tollom jumalti ani mundo ko si falla sector nyinto nim pareta wala nak sina kacha dasi muta momo ye nyinin karo soto milalan ko lebe sirin jambi e si nyinin karo ke minister na la timo isa jabe oto be mobe tentula me mobe kontonna mide hasum bi jambi gambe dingo be dawda gambe jang bantala bankon kan mbal tentula mbal jayla government officials so mi alon ko bijambi maberi njambe senior government officials kabo Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Ministry of Information e be siri njambi ninkombe molto falansina nyina dolla barin safugo Director of Press Office of the President anti ami affaire science and thing abijanne head of protocol Ministry of Foreign Affairs afanam bijanne DPS Ministry of Information abijanne the DG of Department of Information Services Esa Davis afanam bijanne Minister Dol fanam bina atemila mo bijambi mbal tentula mbajala mbokay di len dalal suñ tay MANSA KUNDA mi nga xamne mom lañ diglel askan bi ajuma bu ne ñaareli ajuma bu ne ñuy isi ben ministre mu ñew waxtaan ak askan bi té nak am nañ gan gu mag wa bala ma dalal gan bi di len dalal yeen ñep ñi fi teew ni tay di nuyu ñep ñi nga xamne ñu ngi kër di ñu sétane ñu nekk biir Gambia fi ak ñu nekk bitim réew di leen jaajëfal bu baax di jaajëfal media team bi ñi nga xam ne ñoo jàpp ci liggéey bi tey fu mu toll nii ñu bari ñoo seetaan parce que media bi la almost 6 media house ñu ngi ko génnee live aduna ci yëpp ñu ngi ñoo seetaan di leen dalal bu baax comme ni ñu ko dee waaye rek Ministry of Information nag suñ pas-pas moo ñu gis ne réeróo bu mu am diggante nguur ak askan wi lépp lu nguur def suba guddi askan bi yëg ko waaye tamit lépp lu askan bi di jànkuwanteel suba guddi nguur gi yëg ko suba nguur mun a jàppale askan bi kon loolu moo suñ taxawaay te nag am nañ ku mag mooy ministre bi nga xam ne moo amee wàllu suñ jëflante ak yeneen réew yi ak Gambie nga ñu dëkk bitim réew kon tey dinañu wax ñu liggéey bu moo def ci secteur bi wax ñu suñ foreign policy wax ñu suñ diplomatie waaye wax ñu tamit embassy yi ñi nekk bitim naka la ñu doxee ak ndax ñu ngi dox ndax doxuñ kon tey am nañ fi gan gu mag ak ñi nga xam ne ñoom la àndal ñi moo liggéeyal nañ jox ministre bi comme niñ ko di defee rek ñaari fukki minute mu ñëw waxtaan ak askan bi wax ñu moom la mooy liggéeyam ak taxawaayam ak lu moo nekk di defal askan bi su loolu weesoo nag jox ñim àndal ku nekk juróomi minute ñu wax ñu seen tur seen santa ak li ñoo liggéey ci secteur bi su loolu weesoo nag ñu ibi line si képp koo xam nga am nga laajte boo bëgg a laajte ministre bi ak timam ngeen laaj ministre bi ansa so nañ fi nekk for the next 1 hour 45 minutes ngeen xamee ko noonu kon di leen jaaj fu baax a baax di leen santa man nag suma waxtaan tey man lii du suma bés suma waxtaan du bari waaye nañu wax ne man tamit dinaa am fi MANSA KUNDA suma bés dinaa ñëw jàkkaarloo askan bi wax askan man te lu maa liggéey suma secteur waaye tey nag bési ministre Tangara la am nañu fee nekk nag foog ma bàyyi leen xel bu baax a baax dalal leen mooy ñi nga xam ne mooy director of press office of the president anti ami Bojang Sissoho mu fi di ko dalal bu baax di dalal ñi nga xam ne ki nga xam ne moo amee mbiri protocole bi foreign affairs moom tam mu fi ak teamam bi yëpp senior government official si fi nekk ambassadeur Diallo mu fi DPS mu nekk tech DPS technical minister of information moom tam mu fi mu ngi teew fii ak DPS finance and administration ak director of press director of department of information service Essa Davis mu fi ak yéen ñëpp bugga naa nag kenn ku nekk ma oo sa tur ak sa sant nuyu la waaye mënuma ko def parce que su ma ko defee waxtu bi nañu xooj kon di wax ne man fii laa em su boobaa ma oo honorable minister Momodou Tangara mu ñëw waxtaan ak askan bi Dr. Tangara, the floor is yours. Thank you. Mainly English.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dr. Ismaila Sise. I have my own very big brother, senior brother and friend, my first permanent secretary here present, Ambassador William Diouf. Also, I would like to recognize Ambassador Moses Benjamin Jallo, the permanent secretary, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Fatkine Diop, the directors from my ministry and other ministries, and of course, Anti-Ami Sissoho, Bojang Sissoho, and all the students here present. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure and honor for me. I will not read too much. I would rather entertain an interactive session so that you can ask whatever you want. This is very unusual to have a foreign minister attending a town hall meeting. Because, you know, diplomacy is done behind closed doors. And those who understand the intricacies of diplomacy, of course, you cannot stand here and elaborate on all what you are doing. It's just like, and promote the pursuit of peace around the world. Support development cooperation around the world, including the fight against climate change. We extend diplomatic support to our friends and partners. We support African integration and Pan-Africanist ideas and solutions. Above all, we seek a peaceful and just world where every nation strives. And I want to emphasize here the fact that as a small country, the most important thing that we have is our voice. Because we are not endowed with natural resources that will enable us to be key players somehow, but our voice matters a lot. And that's why we always insist on us fulfilling our obligation in terms of paying our contributions. This is key, because today, if many countries are coming to the Gambia, it's to seek their support. And I will also debunk the fact that people are saying that we don't have a foreign policy. You don't have any country that will operate without a foreign policy. Foreign policies are based on principles. And I mentioned those principles: non-alignment, good neighborliness, the respect for our sovereignty and independence, and promoting our national interests. And your strategies, you will not put all in the public domain. You know, one of the, I will not say a mistake, but yeah, let's call it a mistake, of the First Republic is when we said that we wanted to transform Gambia into Singapore. No country would allow you to import more than what you consume and flood their markets. And I remember on Radio France, they were saying that in French, que la Gambie est comme une épine dans les pieds d'une économie sénégalaise malade. The Gambia is just like a thorn in the flesh of a sick Senegalese economy. Of course, when you elaborate such kind of strategies, you do it quietly, but you don't put it in the public domain. And it's very interesting I mentioned Singapore because Gambia and Singapore and Maldives were admitted the same day at the United Nations, 21st of September, 1965. And I always like to compare countries, especially to take inspiration from countries like Singapore. Singapore at the United Nations is leading what we call FOSS, Forum of Small States. A state is not small. You make yourself small or big, depending on your position and your the stance you take internationally. And when you look at the voting patterns of the Gambia, that shows you clearly our foreign policy, how it is oriented. But as I said, these are some misunderstanding, but I can even say it's not being fair to the founding fathers of this nation to say that we operate without a foreign policy. The major foreign policy shift we have since our independence is when we decided to move from mainland China to the other China. But that was rectified not long ago because our founding fathers insisted on having good rapport with mainland China, communist China they used to call it. You know. And a foreign policy, in fact, even the pronouncement of the head of states, who is the chief diplomat, they call the foreign minister the chief diplomat, but he operates under the directive of the head of state. His pronouncement itself is a foreign policy. You can see right now with what is happening in one of the big countries in the world. Through pronouncement, their foreign policy is completely changing. And I will want to also talk a little bit about some of the challenges of the ministry. The ministry plays an important role in facilitating the work of the government. Our domain, which is about facilitating the participation of the Gambia in its international interactions, is a very heavy burden and costly, but we cannot afford not to engage. Diplomacy is expensive, but when you look at the return on investment, it's far higher than what you invest. You know, we're going to a meeting on South-South cooperation, and we invited the auditor, internal auditors, the manager, I think the director, Sasise, to join us. And some of my team members were saying, no, we don't have to go with it. I said, no, they need to come so that they know what we are doing. And when we went there, mind you, as foreign minister, I arrived, we didn't have a vehicle because Gambia is not represented there. It was in Argentina. You know, when people say that we have too many embassies, they don't know what they are talking about. We have 193 member states of the United Nations, and we have only 23 embassies. So when we arrived there, you see ambassadors of other countries who are accredited there, they've already rented their cars. As foreign minister, we have to hire a taxi to go to the meeting venue. And during that meeting, we had engagement, and we signed an agreement with India to the tune of several millions of dollars in dollars. And he said to me, you know, you are not making too much publicity about the work that you are doing. But a foreign minister does not, you do not talk too much. because you deal with sensitive issues. And when you talk too much, people don't trust you. Because as I said, everything mainly is done behind closed doors. So sometimes it's good for people to understand what we are doing. And I'm sure, if you follow our page, there are a lot of press releases. But here, unfortunately, people are more interested about things that are not working. When we evacuated, well, we had a problem of people in Lebanon, and there were a lot of noises. And during that period, because for us, based on the principle of equity, we do not have enough resources to be able to evacuate all these people. And if you evacuate people in Lebanon, we should evacuate those in Niger, those in Libya. Do we have that resources? No. But fortunately for us, a well-meaning Gambian came to my office, not to mention him, Amidou Dia, and proposed to pay for their tickets to come. That was the first time I was meeting the gentleman. It was during COVID. I asked him to remove his mask so that I could recognize him. I commended him for his action, but I told him it's not only about paying the tickets. And we don't even want to handle the money. If you want to help them, get their details, buy the tickets from here, and we'll do the needful for them to come. But it was not only about paying the money, because they've overstayed their visas. And for them to be cleared, you need the intervention of the Honorary Council. Because we don't have an embassy in Lebanon. Lebanon is being covered from Saudi Arabia, but we have a very dynamic Honorary Council called Khalid Ahmoud, who did all the demands. And with all the noise, they've been insulting him, but he was the one providing them, even with food. And what people fail to understand also is that Honorary Council are not being paid. They are doing their work pro bono. But sometimes people misunderstand their role. I went to Mali, and we had a meeting with the Gambian community, and they started complaining, well, we don't know why you are appointing this guy. We are Gambians. We can do this job better. Blah. They said a lot of things. I listened to them. I told them, do you know that we are not giving this man a penny? They said, what? But even when we were coming here, he paid our transport. In jail, he's the one who will go up to the interior of them. So if these people are not commended, we should not. They said to me, they will go and help them. But I wonder whether they've done that. When we had the case of the students in there, but we have a very dedicated Gambian who works with the United Nations, Dr. Abu Jang. Stay behind to help the Gambian live. We didn't have the money. A council who decided to pay for the bus to take them from Khartoum. They didn't want to do anything without receiving the money. During a war period, how can you send money? So the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, thanks to the excellent relations that we have with them, facilitated their transport to Jeddah. They were so comfortable that at some point they said that they were no longer thinking about their problems. But that too, we appeal to them, and it's thanks to the team. I have a dedicated team. With all the challenges, with the lack of resources, we use our ingenuity to get water out of stone, I can tell you. I want to diplomacy is expensive. Some of the main challenges were our voting rights withdrawn from us at the United Nations. That was a major disaster because most of the support we are getting from countries engaged for a bilateral. But when they realize that we do not fulfill, they like you, but because they can get something out of diplomacy, there is some degree of communism in it. And I said we very aggressive diplomacy. To have an aggressive diplomacy, you need resources. How many missions where even mobility is a challenge? I was at the UN, I was an ambassador myself. It's not the reality, because normally you go with your car and you to welcome you, and I will come walking. And it's not enough. I will attend meetings, that ambassadors are not. But I would say this meeting is so important that I decided to come. But they know ambassadors are not allowed, because diplomacy also will respect the protocol. Experts cannot argue with ambassadors. Like me as minister, I cannot argue with state. Even when I'm representing my head of state in meetings, when there are arguments, I will read the message of my head of state, and that will be a big diplomatic blunder for a minister to argue with a head of state. Also to have a cadre of diplomats. And just recently we validated the Foreign Service Regulation. We have when they won, Naomi is here, she was with the mission. When they won 50 diplomats, they won 50, you have 5,000 applicants. So it's the best and the best. I know. Some people think that some will be a diplomat, an ambassador, so that I can go and rest. You completely miss the point. I know a place like New York, you can never rest. Addis, you can never rest. And we've achieved a lot. For the first time in the history of the Gambia, we are a member of the, for the first time consecutively, we are a member of the African Union Peace and Security, and that has gave us a lot of good name, reputation. In 2017, Gambia was the kid on the block. And for the reason that the UN is itself, it's a perfect organization. Because the Department of Political Affairs, they all came together and helped Gambia in those difficult days. And when Gambians were in doubt, it's thanks to diplomacy on our side. And Gambians alone could not have done it here without the intervention. Stood. And for that they needed a mandate. And that mandate came from the United States. Fortunate then, Senegal was a member of the UN Security to seal everything to make sure that President victory was recognized worldwide. The UN Security Council President, whom I met recently, Olaf Skog of Sweden, called the president and congratulated him. He said he wanted to talk to the then president so that we'll avoid having a conflict. Was with the then Under-Secretary General for Political Affairs, Ambassador Jeffrey Feltman, who played a key role during those periods. We went to see him. 99% he will not take the call. So when we talked to Ban Ki-moon decided to call. He did not speak with Ban Ki-moon, but as soon as Guterres assumed office, one of the first, when you have a change of government, the expectations are very high because people think that their life will change overnight. So reform that is being implemented today, the Transitional Justice Program is their idea. And they even provided money to kickstart the whole, only on Gambia. We met with from the president to all the directors. It was the first country that he visited. So Gambia became the Peace Building Commission. And the UN Secretary General himself was so happy with the program in the Gambia. He said he wants to make Gambia a state. And President Adama Barrow was, hell, you will see great leaders coming and in. And people also started understanding our system of voting. The then president decided to graciously concede defeat. He nearly became the laughingstock of the world. So if we did quickly, the diplomats were not at the forefront, it could have jeopardized the whole key role, that people must understand that. And most of the things that you are related through diplomacy. Because before you have even cooperation, but when it comes for the implementation. Unfortunately, most of the people think that the work of foreign ministry is to facilitate visa and travel. We are not a travel agency. And I know when it comes to traveling, we do not have control over these embassies. The visas, when you are coming to Gambia, that's our response, it's our prerogative. We have power over that. But when you are going to, people also think when you have a diplomatic passport, wherever you want to go, you can go. No, we cannot write a note verbal. If it is not an official mission, we will not write a note verbal. My people, because Gambia, we need to do maslaha. We like to do maslaha because we don't want people to be offended. But when through the diplomatic channel, it's very clear. Even with that, they will insist, give them a date. No, they know. If they are available, they will. So, as they will say in Wolof, Junja doy na borom xel. Ndoman terima Ismaila Jayla Mbatentula. Katu nyumansia, ka foreign minister sambanang ini. Mansoro de barente na maji. Bari nyimbete atala ko ay waya tandina fananko Gambia. Bu diplomatie nak atemu fenete ko len. Ya ntol fon la diplomate bal wol mu jalol lete. Ni tata iko nga sartol landi. Ya nani lolondi. Sarta tan nani nin sabanjaw. Iko nga kumota nga karafa jalo. Ya dawoda. Ninga kachala bonkono ngatele ki. Ning hadama ya betamala nka santo akadiamu dumale jalo ka futandi. Munatna ko asadiamu no santo mole amoy. Ba nin ko moti nyata bulu jalo sade dun jang. Abeta ta nata pour que Gambia la nyanto ngawala. Nin signol fanam be nakato dawo kala pour ni nga kayro nin tanko ko na ni nyo fahamo. Trena adoko koleata. Katu kamun fo bunkono wokono folan na ya taraje wala dinna foreign ministry jalo ko nin kumo man kun keba mun kono kute di alela mo fo ti alkakacha alkako kacha ko lokono nka fen jamale fananke ke foreign affairs bari nka mun fo ndo jamale kato dawo ngake bari kato fanan aka tara sambo bijede baraka mun fo nyawato so ka ferol la landingaji bembe molbondi la wobata bundato nyamena diplomatie nyanta aggressive ni a bankol ta dunia kono banku keme banku tan so banku jamalo to tan se tarno jami ton so wala nan banku dol mun ngasoto dawoda Senegal sitano Senegal embassy to bari mandi wa o ngata British embassy to nte hakilo ba kan tol ta folo moro bari domandin fanam ben nakato long fond e si birin Gambia independent soso de jamaa mi ko Gambia ta wana ke bal mum folo ta ya do ku baleke nim mol si ta fanam ko mam forum police sartol le ka tamandi wo ferol na ni be ferol landila ibuke la ferol fo mobe ise ta dulalo wala tinna abetata nyin kacha I can mandinka issue. Okay, thank you.
Tangara for that very insightful and very educative discussion. To promoting transparency and accountability in this country. The president, as part of his legacy, to consolidate our democracy. And I think we are achieving that through some of our to introduce themselves, name, designation, and the role you play as actor. Now, Preferably, I would like you to take it in the local language of your choice. You can use English, but preferably local language of your choice. So we'll start with you. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Yeah. My name is Fatou Kine Job, and I am the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Very lucky because I joined the ministry in my capacity as Secretary, and I have this privilege to be part of the MANSA KUNDA program. This gives us the opportunity to Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but I think to ask questions and interact with the officials at the ministry. In the Ministry of Foreign Affairs could not join us today. And I also have the honor staff and interns at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs who are also in if we can give opportunity to the other directors to also introduce at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs serve as the Chief Administrative Officer, ensuring that the ministry functions efficiently and effectively in line with the government's across the directorates and as well as the diplomatic missions abroad. In the formulation and execution, ensuring adherence of rules, regulation, and service standards. Additionally, as permanent international bodies to maintain coherence in the Gambia's external relations. Permanent Secretary, we also posting policy and the Foreign Service Bill. And we also oversee capacity building initiative, including the plan of the Ministry's Affairs to establish a Foreign Service Academy. I would like to touch on the Foreign Service Academy just a little bit. I know we don't have much time. We at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we wish to establish a Foreign Service Academy that will serve as the central training institution of new entrants and in-service personnel of the Foreign Service, providing them with the requisite diplomatic and linguistic, economic, legal, geopolitical knowledge and skills to represent national interests effectively. And like Honorable Minister has highlighted, we need professionals in our diplomatic service, and I think the Service Academy will serve that purpose. So I'll just stop here for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, PS. Honorable.
Good evening. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Swayu Bari, Director of Admin and Finance at the Ministry of deals with the administrative and financial matters of the ministry, including the missions. And in my directory, I have about the accounts department, the IT and communication department, the procurement, and the drivers as well. So basically, that's of it, the financial aspect of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Everyone, good evening, Chairperson, Honorable Minister. I am Mariam Kanjalo, and I serve as the Director of European Affairs of the honor to join the Honorable Dr. Tangara at today's MANSA KUNDA session. From the ministry. To contribute to this discussion, please allow the Gambia and the European Union partnership will be executed on in a bid to localize this framework. The EU, the Gambia partnership is further guided by the MIP, which is the multi-indicative annual, namely governance, good governance, green economy, and human development. And as I contribute to this discussion, I will that the relationship between the Republic of the Union and other European countries is centralized and stronger. It's more comprehensive and structured in the manner which is best suited to address the multiple challenges and opportunities relevant to the two parties or to all parties. And today, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs continues to live up to its mandate and in partnership with the Union and its member states, as well as other European countries, we have registered economic development, cultural, as well as consular facilities. In terms of our political engagements, move for the European Union and other European partners to accompany the Gambia, support the Gambia support the country's democratic transition, and to strengthen valued at hundreds of millions of euros. And recently, we can all remember that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs hosted the Managing Director for Africa in a move that further cements our bilateral relations. And the MD had then President Adama Barrow. She also co-chaired the first partnership dialogue and presided over the celebrations marking EU Day in the Gambia. And pursuing our help the Gambia mobilize financial resources of its development need, we undertook trade facilitation and investment promotion ventures at all levels, our diplomatic missions and embassies abroad. And our ambassadors, diplomats abroad, continue to facilitate trade missions and host events that showcase the Gambia as a choice for investment and trade. And with the EU, of the EU's European solidarity in Africa. And in essence, we play a major role in mobilizing development aid, including disaster management, climate change, etc. And through our embassies and by engaging of the Gambia as a place to visit, work. And Honorable Minister has spoken about how we Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And to this end, will continue to strengthen and broaden the scope of Gambia's consular service, providing travel documents, visa, emergency support, and of course, auto travel to the Smiling Coast. And to ensure a balanced geographical coverage, we continue. Thank you all, and back to.
Thank you very much for that comprehensive.
Assalamu alaikum. And I work as the director for the African Affairs in the African Affairs Division. First, we support the achievement of the strong and genuine relations with all the African. Now, we believe that when you build good relations, the sky is the limit. What do we do? In order to support national interests, we work with partners of peace, security, and stability in the country, in the region, and in the global. Now, how do we do that? We'll also come during the debate. Now, the third thing we do is we support the mobilization of resources to support the implementation of the National Development Plan. Why? Because we realize that the Gambia doesn't have enough resources. So what do? When you don't have enough resources, you need to partner with other people. So the African Affairs Division, we work with partners to make sure that the resources required by the country is harnessed and is sourced from the outside, particularly our friends. Now, thirdly, what do we do? One of the objectives of the foreign policy is to promote and protect the interests of citizens of the Gambia, wherever they are. So what do? We also work with our partners to make sure that any Gambian, wherever you are protected, your interest is protected and guided. So in the African Affairs Division, this is what we essentially do. Now, how do we do that? in the division, we are, I think, 4, but presently we have only 2 lieutenants. So I would like to congratulate them. In fact, one of them he just arrived. That is, I think, he's a second secretary, Tunko Jallo. Now, I have not seen our other staff, but I would like to extend my greetings to most of all these second secretaries, the 4 secretaries, the councillors of the ministry, because essentially they all help the African Affairs Division to achieve their goal.
Oh.
I would like to end here and thank you.
Thank you.
It's a big pleasure.
Now we have I think 2 more directors sitting in the 4th row. What I'll do is I'll give them just 1-2 minutes to their name and what they do, just briefly, so that we can go to the discussions, please.
Okay, good evening. My name is Sheikh Omar Bitey. I am the Director for Asian Affairs at the Ministry. My department or my directorate handles Asian Affairs countries like China, Korea, India, Japan, and Bangladesh, along those lines. And then, like Director Ken says, most of the interactions we have is anchored on framework agreements that we signed either with these countries or bilateral platforms such as FOCAC, which is the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, mainly for China and African countries, where anything that they earmark for Africa within a period of years is mentioned there, and Africa works with them to make sure this is achieved along those lines and in line with your national development initiative. The same thing with Japan, which is on TICAD, and then you have for Korea, which is on COICA, and then India, Gambia has a general framework agreement with them, and these are platforms that usually countries like the Gambia and other African countries will align their national aspirations and agendas to achieve either bilateral support, lines of credits, which is loans and concessions to achieve the development aspirations over the years and period. Like, since he's giving me just 2 minutes, I'll end here. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Finally. Okay, one more. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I am Dai Ali Masise, Director of the Middle East Affairs Directorate. My directorate covers OIC matters and countries like the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Qatar, UAE, just to name those few countries. And as you all know, the OIC is the Gambia is the chairman. The president is the chairman of the OIC, and at the level of the ministry, we have a committee set up together with my colleague and our permanent secretaries, who are working on the draft program for the president as chairman of the OIC for the next 3 years. Thank you.
The next, the director of protocol. I think I'm always fascinated about protocol. My students here from the MIRD are here. All of them are here today, and we've discussed extensively about protocol and what it means and how a single misstep in protocol can jeopardize an entire foreign policy. So he's a very important person, and I think students should know him, that he's the director of protocol. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. I follow my earlier colleague speakers and stand on all protocols. To briefly, my name is Ibu Sila, Director of Protocol and Conferences at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And to briefly describe our functions, we'll just say we go across all the 8 units, all the 8 divisions and all the 8 directorates in our ministry, and we keep custody of state instruments. This is the brief description of protocol at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and during the interactive discussions, we can expand on this. This is very
My students will recognize you as the one responsible for protocol because the black shoe, the tie fits in well, the white shirt, no white socks. This is called diplomatic etiquette. How diplomats should dress, how you talk, how you engage, how you even eat on the dinner table. I think we do that in class, isn't it? Good. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, you and your entire team. Now we are coming to the interesting episode. But before that, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of some of our guests. We have the Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service is also here today with us. Welcome, sir. And also the acting spokesperson of the Republic of the Gambia. He's also here with us today, and welcome. So now, it's time for the public to ask the important questions. We'll take 4 questions at a time. We'll take 2 from this end and 2 from that end. And the rules are very simple. 1 question per person, and keep it short. Yes, we know sometimes it's important to give context to questions, but please make it as brief as possible so that we can have others to be given the chance to answer. We have roughly 45 minutes before we round up here. It's a full house today, so I know many students are here. We have political science students here present. We have international relations students here today at the graduate level. They're also here. So I know they're all eager to learn about foreign policy, about Gambia's foreign policy in particular, about diplomacy. But I have a question, and I don't answer it now. You can answer it later. And I use my privilege as the host of this event to ask that question. Training of the diplomat is fundamental. It comes across everywhere. Because you cannot, diplomacy is very intricate, like you said, very sensitive, intricate, complex. And the person you send to go negotiate on your behalf as a government to promote your foreign policy must be trained. You cannot just take anybody from the street and then to go and do complex negotiations for you. That person must understand history, must understand geopolitics, must understand also the thematic areas. Is it climate change? Is it trade? Is it security? They must understand these things. And you also mentioned that one of the challenges the ministry is facing is lacking a well-resourced, in terms of human resources, diplomatic cadre, in terms of the foreign service. What is the ministry doing to ensure that when we send our diplomats out there, they're well-trained and well-versed in the subject matter, that they can represent us well and negotiate on our behalf and promote our foreign policy? But that question, I'll save it for last. For now, I'll take questions from the floor. We'll start from this end. We can get 2. We'll start with the lady.
Thank you, Doctor, who happens to be my lecturer and my minister. My name is Sally Jaju. I'm a staff of the Gambia Radio and Television Services, a student of International Relations and Diplomacy. I will just connect from where Doctor stopped. Honorable Minister, you mentioned about challenges when it comes to human resources, capacity for that matter. I don't know why is that a challenge, because at the University of the Gambia, I am part of the 7 cohort, meaning 6 badges have graduated from the university. That makes them diplomats. So why do you have a challenge when we have students graduating from international relations? And for 1,
Thank you so very much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Amadou B. Jabate, also in the 7th cohort of International Relations and Diplomacy, University of the Gambia Master's Program. I am here to ask particularly about what is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs doing about trying to bring the EU embassies in the Gambia, because we've noticed that a lot of Gambians are leaving the country, going to Senegal. Along the way, a lot of them struggle from the ferry crossing. Some even face abuses on the roads. So most of the times when you go out there to look for visas, everybody will say their own part of story. apart from the US Embassy, the UK, and then just few, we didn't have most of the EU. In fact, I don't think we have any EU embassy or consular in the Gambia. Even a submission place, at least that citizens of the Gambia can also go and submit their documents, then they can be proceed for onward processing and so on. So to me, we are losing a lot of revenue on that. And then the change of Gambian currency to CFA in onward visa processing and the likes.
Question is clear. Thank you. We'll take two from that end and we'll come back to the minister and his team. No, from this end. You come next round. Over there, please.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for your deliberation, and thank you for giving me the opportunity. My name is Hassan Bojang. I'm currently the president of the Student Teacher Association, Gambia College, now University of Education, the Gambia. My question is, after mentioning challenges of limited ambassadors to represent Gambia outside, what strategies is your ministry putting in place in ensuring that we have more embassies for Gambians to be well represented outside and also their welfare improved? Thank you.
Thank you. The young lady at the back in black. Yes, there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Greetings, Honorable Minister, and all protocols duly observed. My name is Honorable Sarata Sise, former Speaker, Children's Parliament, and currently I am a final year political science student at the University of the Gambia. So my question would be, how is the Gambia positioning itself to protect its sovereignty while still meaningfully participating in global diplomacy, trade, and development partnerships? In other words, how do we make sure we stay independent and true to our national priorities while still actively engaging with powerful international actors and institutions?
Thank you. Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll come back to the minister and his team to answer the questions. It's up to you. You decide who answers what. There are 4 questions, 2 from this end and 2 from this end.
Thank you very much. I don't remember the name of the first person. Huh? Sali Jaju. No, that was, no, in fact, can I answer your question? Okay. Yes, thank you, Sally, for your question. You know, I mentioned here that in countries like India and UAE, when they recruit from the civil service, and you have to sit an exam to get into the foreign service. And after getting there, you have an additional training. Unfortunately here, we do not recruit directly. People are recruited through PMO and are posted to the foreign ministry. In some cases also, we have people who are appointed, who are political appointees. And I have nothing against political appointees. Some of them are doing extremely well. I think when you are appointed as, based on the discretion of the head of state, you should make sure that you are worthy of that trust. Unfortunately, some of them go there and think they are entitled and become even a stumbling block in some of our embassies. And the training is very, very important. You know, Doctor mentioned here the etiquette. In diplomacy, the way you talk, the way you dress. I was embarrassed. I attended a program where one of our diplomats were asked to leave the table because of the way he was dressed. So these are simple things that people need to understand. And the way you talk. A mere pronouncement can jeopardize your relationship with a whole country. So you should be you should be knowledgeable, you should know how to comport yourself. In some countries, even if you are qualified, they do an investigation. If your character is not good, you are not posted. These are all things, these are things that I think in the future we need to work seriously on it. Because we have faced some embarrassing situation where, in fact, in some of the diplomatic schools, they are mentioning these cases. Sorry to say, where an ambassador fought with a protocol officer. And a Gambian was attending that course in Malta. They said they don't want to mention the country, but she knows they were referring to her. So she said, it's my country. So these are some of the embarrassing situations that you face, you know? And you have not only one case just recently, but now the president has taken a very firm stand on that. If there is any such thing, we recall the diplomats involved and we ask them to leave the field, you know? Unfortunately, I think the solution is to have a robust diplomatic cadre, people selected from the civil service, sit for an examination, and we take the best and the brightest. Amadou Jabate asks how we can bring EU more embassies. You have a German embassy here. The German embassy is here in the Gambia. And in fact, we are also working hard to open our own embassy in Germany based on reciprocity. But this is the sovereign decision of those countries. We have no influence on that, you know. And people, you know, everywhere life is hard, and people look at also the benefits and the financial implication before they open. Now, many countries, in fact, are closing down embassies and getting one embassy to cover several embassies in Africa, based on the strategic importance of that country. I think Gambians also should be aware of that. We usually like to say that we are a sovereign country, but sovereignty is expensive. And there are things that when you don't have them, you should know your position. Not all, well, we'll say all countries are equal, but we know that in reality we are not equal. Yeah, that's the reality. But when you go to the General Assembly, we all have one voice, but we know in terms of, sorry to say, there are small countries that are punching far above their weight because they have the resources. We are lacking those resources. And you have also the French diplomatic antenna, and we are working with them. And I'm hopeful that in the very near future, it will be upgraded. We've also been approached by the Russian Federation to open an embassy here in the Gambia. And you have also the Spanish consulate. The Sovereign Order of Malta just opened an embassy. So we are working to Hassan Bojang to open more embassies. You know, they are very expensive. And that's why we have to be very selective about the people we are sending there. And give them the resources also. It's not only about opening the embassy. You should give them the resources to work. Because when you open an embassy and the ambassador does not even have mobility, how do you expect him to work? These are some of the challenges. When the ambassador is struggling with his rent fees. I was ambassador in New York. Sometimes they will cut my electricity. I had to pay. And you know, in that cold weather, it can be very embarrassing. But sometimes because of the bureaucracy, things will be delayed. And out there, they don't understand that. Because what they think that all embassies, when you are not in the embassies, people think that life is very rosy there. But sometimes ambassadors face serious challenges. But thanks to the ingenuity, they're able to cover it up. I always tell my staff that we have to flex our muscles. Even when we don't have it, we have to give the impression that we have it. Sarata, how are we trying to stay independent? I think that's not only the foreign ministry, but the whole country. I think safeguarding our sovereignty and taking our decisions based on our interests. We are not being dictated by anyone. People will think that non-alignment is an outdated concept, but far from there. Because as independent country, we are not taking instruction from any country. We take decisions based on the supreme interest of the Gambia. And wherever we think that this is not in our interest, of course, as diplomats, we will be the first one to go against it.
Thank you very much for those responses.
You still want me to wait at the latter part to answer your question?
We'll take that. We'll take two more questions. We'll take the lady, and we'll take you. You are waiting. And from this side, we'll take two. You can decide later when we reach that stage. One lady, one gentleman from that side. And here also one lady, one gentleman.
All right, good evening to you all. I am Ndeye Cisse, and that's my sign name. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for providing this platform. Thank you. At the foreign ministry, sometimes people with disabilities, especially deaf people, sometimes would love to have access to these places. And sometimes, we used to have challenges to get access to the place. And the other thing that I also wanted to say is the gentleman already said it already. That's to try to encourage more embassies to open the Gambia, because people with disabilities, especially deaf people, also face challenges in crossing the ferry to go to Dakar. So this also has been a challenge also. So, but someone also talked about that already earlier. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes, gentlemen. You can ask your question in local languages, please, preferably, if you don't mind. But if you want to go ahead in English, that's fine.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you for the opportunity. I am Usman Job, final year political science major at the University of the Gambia. I have a question with regards to the diplomatic scandals involving some of the Gambian diplomats in the US, in Russia, in Mauritania, and in Cuba as well, who were recalled due to their involvement in controversial circumstances. So my question is, what has your ministry done to address these actions that are contrary to diplomacy and diplomatic etiquette? Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll move to the other side of the aisle. We'll take the lady in white and one guy. Okay. Yes, we start with the lady first, please.
Good evening. My name is Hari Jata, major in political science at the University of the Gambia. And to the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Cooperations, and of course, Gambians abroad. My question is, how transparent is your ministry when it comes to signing international agreements? Are MPs and civil societies consulted or well informed? Thank you.
Thank you. Final, yes.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone. I'm a community leader from Kunda, and I'm here to represent my... Anyway, Are you hearing it? Okay, the question over here. I'm Yusuf Jallo from Kunda. The Gambia has been excluded from the list of eligible countries for the Swedish Institute Scholarship for Global Professionals after many years. Could you please tell the public what led to this exclusion, and if the government has taken any steps so far to secure that the Gambia is introduced again?
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Yeah, maybe I can give you can answer.
The rule is anyone can answer the question.
Yes,
it doesn't have to be you alone. Yes.
She will answer it. I agree that in the CC, I think your question is a very important one, and I think it's important to cater for people with disability. And in the past, of recent, we've not been having that, but at the United Nations General Assembly, before any session, there is a special day dedicated to people with disability, because they are part and parcel of society. So anything that we can do also to facilitate things for you, will be definitely more than happy to do it. I must confess that I'm impressed when I see people expressing themselves through sign language, which I don't understand at all. I think there is need to look into that and see how best also we can cater for them, because you are part and parcel of society. On the scandals in the different mission mentioned by Usman Job, I think we said it here. We've taken action. They've been recalled, and they are no longer with the Foreign Service. And the president is very clear about it. Even if we suspect cases, we'll investigate it and recall people, because we don't want to face such kind of embarrassment. Because countries seize the Gambia or our partners through our diplomats. They mirror the Gambia. So when you are having the flag of the Gambia, you should raise it very high, not doing things that are really contrary to the diplomatic ethics. So, and that's why I was insisting that it's even important, even when you have the qualification, to do a thorough investigation to see the character of the person, because misstep, mispronouncement, gesture can jeopardize your whole relationship with a country. I attended a joint commission, and I remember in the elevator, one of our delegates made a comment. Had he said that in that hall, we would all been kicked out of that hall. But these are things that are very important to sensitize our people about it. But well-trained diplomat, believe me, you don't see it. I'm very much impressed when I meet with Chinese diplomats, with Turkish diplomats, Indian diplomats. They know how to comport themselves. They know what to say and what not to say. Hadijata, international treaties, we don't need to consult civil society before signing it. That's the sovereign decision of the government, and the government is entrusted with that responsibility. But of course, when they signed it, for the ratification, we go to the National Assembly and we explain why it is done. It's not just, we just wake up and sign anything. We always look at the interests of the country, and because you know that you are going to face the National Assembly, you make sure that you sign things that are in the best interest of the country. And on the question of Yusuf Ajalo, I will allow the Director of European Affairs to answer.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Mr. Jallo, we rest assured that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs takes the issue of people-to-people exchange as a matter of importance, and this falls under this scope. And with regards to the Swedish scholarship, for your information, Gambia has not been excluded. It's because they have now reprioritized the areas that they are focusing on, and then Gambia doesn't fall under that. So we've not been excluded. They have new areas regarding this scholarship. So if you don't fall under those areas, that's it. But it's not like you're excluded. We are excluded. You look at the areas of priority and see where you're eligible, and then you apply. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, another set.
I know that for a very long time, to be quite honest, we were not in the good books of the Scandinavians because of our human rights records, but that has been rectified. And I told you, the first person to call President Balo and congratulate him was the Swedish ambassador who was chairing the UN Security Council.
Yes, Prince, yes.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. I am Boubacar Jame, also international relations student, co-head 7 of the University of the Gambia. I was overwhelmed, that's why I prepare a lot of questions. So I think when we have the permanent secretary in the class, I will just ask some of those questions. So out of the many questions I have, one thing I want to ask is, how is the Gambia strengthening its presence and influence in multilateral institutions such as UN and the Commonwealth, knowing that we just returned to the Commonwealth, not after this, when this new government came in. So we want to see how our influence and presence is being felt in some of those international institutions as a country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Preferably a lady, because we do one lady, one gentleman. Is any lady here on this side? No lady? Oh, okay. Auntie Ami is here.
Thank you very much. Man lima buga laajte mooy yéen a ngi wax ne si diplomatie mbiri ay dëkkandoo dafa am solo torop kon ñi nga xam ne ñoo dee wax si comme si rajo yeeg xibaar bunti xibaar yi ban taxawaay lañ am pour dimbale ba nga xam ne dëkkandoor ci wàlli diplomatie dina gën a mun a dëgër surtout suñ demee ba seet réew yu demee ni Gambia ak Sénégal.
Jerejef Auntie Ami, we'll go to that side. Yeah, that uncle. And then the lady at the back.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Thank you for inviting me. I'm blushing due to the fact that you've highlighted the importance of training. I'm happy to let everybody know that when I retired in 2020 as Gambian High Commissioner to Senegal, I established my own consulting firm to train in diplomatic practice, etiquette and protocol. You know that I've trained over 600 Gambian participants and participants from the ECOWAS Commission and the ECOWAS Parliament. It's a suggestion. I missed this opportunity at the validation of the foreign this opportunity. And this opportunity is global challenges. The voices of retired ambassadors are not relic guides for the future. In essence, retired ambassadors are custodians of diplomatic wisdom and bridges between the past and future. I would like to suggest, Honorable Minister, that we consider establishing, and I'll tell you why. Here is an analysis of the importance of the Association of Retired Ambassadors. 1, knowledge, promoting diplomacy as a profession by mentorship and advocacy, tracking diplomacy and conflict resolutions, policy influence and thought leadership, strengthening multilateralism, cultural and economic diplomacy, uploading ethical standards. I'm very particular about ethics. Crisis response and humanitarian advocacy, networking and alumni diplomacy. Case studies, be members of notable associations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Really, to be honest, this is very important. I remember when I was teaching some students a few years ago, I had always believed that in class we teach theory, but you need to be in the field and get the hands-on experience to understand diplomacy properly. And I used to invite Mr. Ambassador Tal, the late Ambassador Tal, and he'll come for free, and he'll come pays on full and come and teach my students. And I learned a lot. When I was reading textbooks, I thought I knew what diplomacy was until I met him. And I knew that I knew nothing at that time. And I learned a lot from him. Yes, the lady at the back.
Thank you very much, and good evening to everyone. My name is Aisa Tujouf, a student of the MSc International Relations and Diplomacy. So my question is, recently there have been some growing concerns with, I think there's a problem. There have been some recent concerns regarding deportation, especially from the European countries. So what plans does the ministry have to protect Gambian citizens in case they're supposed to be deported back to Gambia?
Okay, that's an interesting one. Thank you. We'll hand it over back to the ministry to answer those questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. On the question of Babukar Jame on multilateralism, I think in Gambia we are very active on the multilateral arena. At the UN, As we speak, our ambassador is approved to chair the second committee. And he's also chairing some board at the level of the UN. And last year, the Gambia was chairing also the 6th Committee on Legal Affairs and championed many resolutions. Of course, you all know about the case of the Rohingyas. Now, if we go to or the camp of the Rohingyas, President Adama Barrow is well known there. And whenever they pray for him. Whenever they pray also for Batambedu. These are, they know them like they belong to them, you know. The OIC, of course, for the first time, the Gambia is chairing the OIC, and we are chairing on behalf of Africa. And I think this is also an opportunity for me to pay tribute to all those who participated in making this OIC summit a huge success. You know, many people came to the Gambia not only to the Gambia, but to Africa for the first time. And they were not expecting to see what they saw. And now wherever we go, people look at us with differently and always tell us that this is different from Banjul. That Banjul summit was very successful. In terms of the content, the organization, so we should commend His Excellency President Adama Barrow for this feat and the Gambian people. I think during the period, we all rallied behind the president to make sure that this was a huge success. At the level of the AU, I told you that for the AU Peace and Security Council, and the Gambia was also chosen in the person of former Ambassador Jaina Bajai, to chair the Committee on Children Affected by Armed Conflicts. And as we speak, during the next CFM in Istanbul, the Council of Foreign Ministers, Gambia is also going to champion a resolution on the recognition of the State of Palestine. Already has gone through the level of the experts, so for the CFM, it will just be an easy thing, and the heads of states, when they meet, will endorse it. So at the multilateral level, I think that's where our strength is, and that's where we are able to gain a lot of support, and where we negotiate a lot of programs in terms of training and other developmental programs that will benefit the Gambia. I mean, of course, li nga wax lu am solo la. Foog naa ñuy nekk di wax si media yi war nañoo bàyyi seen xel bu baax si lu ñoo wax, parce que dëkkandoo jàmm rek moo si xëj. waaye yàlla def na diplomatie dañ nekk ñu dal, parce que xam nañ ne si radio yi ñoom fu mu nekk nii ku nekk lu la neex ngaa wax. Comme li mu wax ñëpp borom xam-xam lañ léegi, ñu xamul sax xam nañ léegi. Donc ku nekk da ngaa toog di wax lu la neex, waaye bu wax bi ñëwee ñun dinañ ko seega, parce que wax bu dofee si noppay war a dem ñoom war nañoo wér. am nañ fi situation boo xam ne even yenn MPs yi bu ñu waxee ñun duñ tontu. mu am benn MP bu defoon yenn comment si benn dëkk, kenn ñëw ne waaw foreign ministry dafa war a react. ma ne ko lu tax ñuy react, kii MP la lu ko neex laa wax. wan ñun buñ waxee si cadre réew mi la ñoo waxee, kële nag dafa wax lu ko neex si constituency am. waaye bu fekkee ñoom seen nguur ñoo wax ñun si lañ leen di tontu waaw. waaye li nga wax lu am solo la, foog naa waxkat yi dañ war a bàyyi seen xel bu baax lu ñoo wax, parce que tey gis nañ ne journaliste seen liggéey bu gën a mag sax mooy ñuy debunk fake news ak misinformation ak disinformation. nit yi lu ñoo wax si fen moo gën a bari lu ñoo wax si dëgg. te nag seytaane ñu ne tasul ndaje waaye yaax na xel. amoon na jamono ñu am fi ay vidéo ñoo wone naan dañ te Gambien si leen doof lu bon Angola, fekk loolu vidéo yu yàgga lay. mu am beneen ma gis ko tamit si benn réew ñu ne xool leen ni ñoo def suñ waa dëkk yi Gambie, ñu gis jël wane kenn koo xam ne waa yaa ngi koo doon jaasi di ko dog, fekk loolu du fii sax, loolu kenn yàlla. waaye gis nga borom taskati xibaar yi bu ñu jëlee façon xibaar yooyu dégg ko tas ko, kooku kenn tasee waa dëkk boobu tasee Gambie ne ñu ngi def suñ waa réew yi foofu nga def loolu la fitna di ñëwee. so loolu nag lu am solo la loo xam ne war nañ see bàyyi suñ xel. Ambassador Ibou Ndour, thank you very much, and we commend you for your availability anytime we ask for you to come and support, and your commitment to the cause. And I want to recognize also Ambassador Jogu Sayerba, who is one of our greatest diplomats here. He's here with us today. Thank you for coming, Ambassador. And I would like also to seize this opportunity to pay tribute to Ambassador Ibutal. This was a man of knowledge, passionate about foreign affairs, who will take his time, come to us. Sometimes he will come to my office, we'll just sit and chat about diplomacy and about culture. He was one of his kind. And Ambassador, we've not forgotten about you. And that's why during the validation workshop, I insisted that you should be invited. And we are working on a lecture series where we want to invite prominent Gambians to share their experience, because you are men of wisdom, of experience, of knowledge. And these young ones need to learn from you people. Unfortunately, in Gambia, once you finish your career, they come and they want to put you in a cupboard. We'll not allow that to happen. In Senegal, I know they value very much their former ambassadors. Former ambassadors carry their diplomatic passport, they continue with it. I don't know whether, Njogu, you have your diplomatic passport, you see? Ambassador, you see? These are the minimum that we owe to them. And when they have programs, even for campaigns, you know, for just recently they were campaigning for Amadou ought to become president of the World African Development Bank. They brought in former ambassadors. And I remember when they were at the UN Security Council also, they would invite former ambassadors to come and share their knowledge with them. You know, unfortunately here, once, not only ambassador, once you are out of the system, people, you go even to the ministry, they will ignore you, unfortunately. I've seen that case with one of our greatest diplomats, Ansumana Sise. He had some problem, but for him to get his problem solved, he was disgusted. You have to go and beg people. That's unacceptable. I think these are things that we need to look into, and I will encourage you to form the association of former ambassadors, and we'll give you all the support. All the platform that you need will be with you. Because one day we'll all become formed. On deportation, you know, when even here, today I was coming, you know, I came today from Berlin. I came by road. And on the way, I saw the Gambia Immigration Department, a bus full of people that who are being deported. So if you are in a country and you are not legal, they have all rights to deport you. And when we know that you are Gambian, we do not also have the right to render you stateless. But of course, we'll do all our best to make sure that our people who are there are regularized. And that's why I undertook a mission with parliamentarians from both sides, so that they know that the issue of migration is not a political issue. If you politicize it, you are on the wrong side of history. This is a plight that we are all facing today in our society, and we have to take the bulls by the horns and avoid politicizing it. We went together to Germany to tell them, to explain to them the situation of Gambians and to see how best they can regularize some of them. Just recently we had a situation and people were saying all kinds of things, and I was really disgusted, sorry to say, with Mauritania. You know, Mauritania are deporting people who are illegal in their country, because today irregular migration has created a situation that is becoming very embarrassing for them, even and killing their tourism. This year alone, along the big side, they had like 500 cops. You do not want to be on holidays and see a cop coming next to you. And many people die on their way going to Europe. And most of them don't have papers. Now, they've decided to take a strong stance and get people out. But the president sent me there as special envoy to go and plead with them. You know, most of our Gambians are students there. They are in these madrasas, in these daras. They don't have papers. These are the almudus who went through, I don't know how they got there. So they gave us the opportunity to come and regularize those ones. But people are saying, yeah, they are sending people for election. Really, seriously. I think sometimes it's important when we talk about things, we go to the bottom of them and understand them. And You cannot come out and explain a lot of things because this was done behind closed doors. This was a privilege extended to Gambians to enable them to come and regularize Gambians. And wherever we go, the complaint of Gambians is about papers. Just recently we were in Gabon. It's the same complaint. And we were trying to map our strategies to see how best we can make sure that these Gambians have their papers. In fact, I went to Cabo Verde because, you know, Cabo Verde is one country where the majority of the people are living outside. And they invited us to come and see how they deal with those issues. And even invited us to send our immigration team, the Directorate of Immigration, to go to Portugal, where they're experimenting their pilot project on getting their citizen papers when they are outside of Cabo Verde. So we are trying to do the same thing. And we will not stop only at Mauritania. We'll go to other countries, make sure that the Gambians have their papers.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Thank you. Now we'll take two from this end and two from that end, including you, the gentleman. He's been raising his hand for a while now. You decide. You give two from this end, two from that end. Preferably a lady and a gentleman. Yes, quickly.
Well, good evening to you all. And I would first express my sincere appreciation to this auspicious opportunity that is available to me. I am Mr. Usman Janha of the Gambia Police Force, that is the International Affairs Unit, and also a student of MSc for International Relations and Diplomacy. This really has been a great concern to me, and it will continue to be a great concern for me. Do you think sovereignty will flourish in an environment of limited resources, where you have to depend on partners for resources?
Thank you. Very clear question. Thank you. Give it to a guy.
Ladies, no question. Okay.
No. This guy.
Here.
Okay. Yes, please.
Okay, Assalamualaikum, Minister. Suma tur mu ngi nekk Cheikh Tidiane Gueye, a university student. Lu ma bëgg a laajte rek si olof laa ko bëgg a laajte because ñun dañ nekk ñoo xam ne yàlla daf ñu bina ñu jógee si àll bi mooy si dëkki kaw yi daal foofu leen jógee daal so moo tax suñ dee represent dañ dee bëgg a tamit ministre yi wala képp koo xam ne ndombal tànka government nga wax ñu daal lan mooy sa mébét ak lan mooy sa soxla si ñun ñu nga xam ne tamit ñu ngi dëkkee boor boobu noonu ak sa foreign policy yi naka nga try pour forward ko ba nga xam ne nii yeneen.
lan nga bëgg a laaj ministre bi tey.
lu ma ko bëgg a laajte mooy ministre bi lan la ñu amal si foreign policy yi moo jagal pour dëkk bi si ñun ñu dëkkee si boori àll bi foofu noonu.
jërëjëf thank you. Yes, the gentleman. Yes.
Yes, good evening. I am Biran Gay of Forea newspaper. I have one follow-up question and a different one. Okay, then let me ask this one. Has the Ministry of Foreign Affairs through the Gambian Embassy in Saudi Arabia received any complaint of maltreatment and severe exploitation meted out on Gambian domestic workers? Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yes, Mariam, last question.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Johnson Ying, a university student major in development studies. And I want to ask this question. How do you deal with briberies received by our immigration officers from foreigners who haven't obtained proper documentations?
Well, that is for immigration. This is foreign affairs.
Foreigners, yeah, like the foreigners who are here, and they give out.
Your question is for immigration.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Well, to talk about bribery of immigration officers, you have to have the evidence. So, but anyway, that question is for immigration. Cheikh Tidiane Gueye foreign ministry amul ku jógee si àll bi amul ku jógee si taax yi Gambians la ñoo diilal ba pare amul kenn ku jógee si àll sax waaw nit yi ñoo laa jéem a gëm loolu waaye ñëpp a em foreign ministry xam nga lu ñoo seet sa qualification ak sa mun-mun waaw bu fekk fu ko jógee moom loolu amul solo waaw loolu xamuñ ko si
waaye tamit ñu teg si ne liggéey boo leen dee liggéey si wàllu diplomatie moo dee tax ba su ndimbal ñëwee pour béykat yi si project si te société projet yi naka ministry of agriculture for exemple naka la tuddaati sax roots project bi yéen a ko ici foreign affairs ñoo ko liggéey ñoo ko toogal ñoo yëkkal ñu ko
maalo bi ñëw tamit yëpp ñun la yëpp
project bi
building bi ñu nekk nii diplomatie moo ko indi
yéen a ngi ko njëriñoo foofu noonu tamit
waaw ñëpp a ngi ko njëriñoo xooñ na si kaw gi la jógee kii si taax la jógee waaw Ousmane Jangha, you know, this world, we are all interdependent. There is, no one can be an island. And you know, they always say that the world is a global village. And when we had the COVID virus, I say, sorry to say, I'm not being cynical, but this is the most democratic virus that affects all of us. And we knew that we have to come together to fight it. So, dependent on others does not mean that you are compromising your sovereignty. We support each other because we are interrelated. But we always make sure that we protect the territorial integrity of our countries. And we try as much as possible to be sovereign in terms of we have our own money, our foreign policy. There are areas that you do not compromise in any other way. So I think sovereignty is not an issue. So far, we've not compromised our sovereignty in any way, as far as I know. Brian Gay, if we have received any domestic violence, maltreatment from Saudi Arabia, the mission, I'm not aware of it. The director of Middle East here sitting. I know in the past, in a country like Oman, UAE was covering, and whenever we have this kind of alert, the embassy will make sure that the needful is done to support our Gambians. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Unfortunately, I've been alerted that time is almost up. I don't think I can take any more questions, unfortunately. I'm really sorry, because time is up. We should be leaving this place in about 5-7 minutes. What I would do is just to pinpoint a few important issues raised, and I'll give chance. I think Minister has spoken a lot. I want your team also to say a few things on some of the issues raised in case they want to add something on it. But two things that came up. The Masters in International Relations and Diplomacy, I think this year alone, the UTG graduated over 30 students in MIRD. Maybe perhaps what could be done is to see if there can be an MOU between the ministers. While they are studying at the same time, they can come in and to do the practicals at the ministry. Something like that, but I think this is something we can discuss. And the issue of experience as well, former diplomats, I think it's something we need to look onto as well. It's very, very, very important. I think for me, if you have anything to add, your team, to what the minister had said, with regards to what has been raised here, perhaps you could also say a few words before we round up.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Minister. I think with regards to the MOU between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and UTG, it will be just a formalization. But we have like a lot of interns at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and most of them are from the University of the Gambia. And also with regards to what I mentioned with regards to the Foreign Service Academy, also that will also give them the opportunity to be enrolled in the academy so that they will be well equipped with the knowledge and experience before joining the Foreign Ministry. What Ambassador Ibundur has just mentioned, recognize our former ambassadors here. They have a wealth of experience, and I believe that the Foreign Service Academy, Ambassador Ibundur, please be rest assured that we will definitely engage you once this academy has been established. We will use all of you as resource persons. You can come there, give lectures, we can learn from your experience. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I just wanted to touch on the interns from the UTG. Currently, we have about 25 at the ministry, and we have over 50 waiting. So it's a big tax at the ministry because I'm the one responsible for those interns. And they are doing a great job. We don't give them a butut, but they come on time and do a big thank you to the interns.
Thank you.
The issue of more embassies being open in the Gambia, EU countries. First, as Honorable Minister has said, this is a sovereign decision, but notwithstanding, MOFA continues to engage and advocate. And as we engage, we also bring to the discussion the element of reciprocity. And we also argue on the basis of volume of need for citizens of both the Gambia and the EU as well. And also, somebody has said something about deportation, migration in general. So the government of the Gambia and the ministry in particular, it's actively engaged with our EU partners in the area of migration management and governance. And the discussion revolves around safe returns, orderly migration, circular migration, and recently you've seen the agreement we have with Spain in terms of dignity of migrants or returnees. We always emphasize that at least their rights are respected. Thank you.
Thank you. Finally, Director, if you have anything to add, just 1-2 minutes, then I'll come back, Honorable Minister, for your final comments.
Thank you. I just wanted to say 1 or 2 words with regards to the issue of neighborliness, particularly the example of Senegal. Aja Ami said, Dekandor, yefi Dekandor between us and Senegal, lu am solo lawa. Yefi Dekandor, lolu dina bisa daf ko why Senegal dama bëgg wax ben affaire ñun ci relation with Senegal it's not only about neighbor, it's not about culture, why we are blood relations. So li dafa wara dem up to the society be ko wara xam lolu motam may buga gis nga ci university bi we need people. I think the university da ngeen wara xalaat pour at least ngeen jël some of the experienced diplomats pour ñu ñëw jàngal diplomacy, because diplomacy is not like other technical fields. It's more of acting than theory. So if you sooy jàngal nit yi yëfi diplomacy da nga war a jël ñu xam ne daal they have experience, they knowledge. So man loolu laa bëgg a.
Jërëjëf.
Thank you very much.
Jërëjëf ñu tàccul Honorable Minister ak teamam bi balaa ma just laaj di nga answer sama question si mbiri jàngal ñi nga xam ne ñoom ñoo nekk diplomate yi lan mooy ba yan jéego ngeen see jël pour gis ne ñi nga xam ne ñoom la ñoo yónnee ñu dem liggéeyal ñu bitim réew ñu am xam-xam bi. ñaareel bi mooy ne foreign affairs ba ministre boo gis muy def jaloore di def lu rëy yéen la yéen a ici pour agriculture mën a def girafe ak roots, yéen a ici pour gender di def nafa, yéen a ici pour trade di def circular migration, yéen a ici pour Ministry of Works di defar tali yi yéen a ici lépp bi yéen a ko ici kon am ngeen solo trop waaye suma mujjanti laajte mooy am na ñu laaj ne dañ war a yokk embassy yi nga ne téeméer ak juróom-ñeenti fukk ak ñetti réew ñoo am si àdduna si waaye ñun embassy yu ñu am si àdduna si mooy ñaari fukk ak ñett yan jéego ngeen def pour ñu gis ne ñu yokk embassy ndax yéen a ngi yokk si embassy ndax yoo leen yokk ak si mbiri jàng bi mun ngaa walul nga randop ñu tas géew gi pour tey jërëjëf.
waaw bala ñuy tasaaroo fii dama bëgg a delloo njukkal président ndi buñ doon dox pour mbiru OIC ñëpp am nañ si ñaari xel ba mu des moom ak vice président te war nañoo delloo njukkal ku mel ni ambassadeur Oyi Sala sonna na si torop parce que dafa téene lii mission am bu mujjee la mu liggéey si liggéey bu mag te buñ ko organiser fii kenn rusu si ya Gambia kan o jangayandi wo kummayata baake bi mol kay nje ñame na nkunung fatatale Omar ya Sénégal yo ko fan ba mur la si modèle si loolu nga Sénégal dafa am solo trop ñun pour ñu bokk EU Sénégal moom moo ñu sponsor ñu dem foofu UN Sénégal Côte d'Ivoire ak Ecuador ñoo ñu sponsor pour ñu nekk member of the United Nations soo ñii dëkkandoor yu am solo la day si war a bàyyi xel bu baax bàyyi xel lu ñoo wax comme li nga wax mbokk yi waaye lu ma dee wax saa yu nekk even moo demee Sénégal man leen gis nga diggante Gambie ak Sénégal du yëfi diplomatie classical diplomatie lépp dafa war a lalu si dëgga parce que lu lalu si dëgga rek moom moo am mujjee li nga wax tam lu am solo la si naka la ñoo jàngalee suñ diplomatie loolu dafa am solo trop te dama appeal to all the politicians ñu wàññi seen loxo bu ñoo dugal trop si diplomatie bi parce que lu ñoo yaaxal moo gën a bari lu ñoo defaral nga dëkk bu nekk balaa diplomatie di dem dañ la lay train waaye di nga def ñaari at si ministre bi balaa ñu laa pose te comme lu wax bu fekkee tam yow jël nañ la wax ma ne political appointees yëpp liggéey am na ñoo xam ñu ngi def liggéey bu mag bu la nit yaakaaree mu tef la si place mu yóbbu la yow da nga war a def sa kéemtalaay kàttan bu kenn di def benn yow nga def puka pour bu rusloo kooku waaye nag si lu bëri luñ gis ñooñu duñ def loolu buñ demee dañ yaakaar ne ñoom parce que dañ am doole si politique dañ fa war a nekk te li ma diplomatie bu ñoo xool suñ diplomate si Gambia la ñoo gis flag yi Gambia lañ amee moo tax na ñu war a góorgóorlu saa ñu demee ñu wone xarkanami Gambia bu rafet boo xam ne ñëpp ñu gis Gambia bi nga xam ne moom lañ xam ñu jub ñuy jaarale lépp si yoon.
Thank you. Finally, are we opening new embassies or not?
Wow, we are opening 3 new embassies in Sweden, in Japan, and in Germany. And if we have the resources, we'll open more. Because, you know, I always say that when you don't have the means of your policy, you practice the policy of your means. You have to be skillful. And I want to seize this opportunity also here to thank my campaign team for the Commonwealth Secretariat bid. You know, people don't understand diplomacy. Sometimes you go for something not because you want to get it, but it's symbolic. It's symbolic, and it's a matter of raising your flag. Because in Africa, they choose 3 of us. And on paper, on merit, you've seen the debate on Chatham House. But as I said, you need resources. We were supposed to campaign to go to how many countries? 50, yeah? No, 55, at least 56. And we were not able to visit even one country. But we flexed our muscle so much so that people end up saying that even Elon Musk was sponsoring our campaign. But we led a campaign and I want to commend the campaign team with humility, dignity, and a lot of ingenuity.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Thank you very much, you and your entire team. This brings us to the end of this week's MANSA KUNDA. We are expecting Honorable Minister of Lands, Regional Government, and Regional Government, Honorable Ahmad Ba, next MANSA KUNDA in 2 weeks' time. It is going to be interesting. We invite all of you to come and interface with Honorable Ahmad Ba. For now, thank you very much, Minister, you and your team. Thank you, the media, for...